welcome to Dear Pop Culture Podcast. This is the podcast where we talk about pop culture that is dear to us. I'm back in the studio today. I'm so excited. It feels amazing. It looks amazing. Everything is great and perfect, and we'll never go back. I don't know. So welcome to the podcast. I'm Gina Harms. I'm the host. And while I'm talking about being back in the studio, just want to give a little quick promo off the top. Harbor Podcast Studios is where I'm recording. And if you are looking to start a podcast, you can hit up Harbor Podcast Studios on their Instagram, and you will get 10% off your package of 10 recordings or more with the promo code POPCULTURE. So go to Harbor Podcast Studios on Instagram, hit them up with promo code POPCULTURE, and you get 10% off your package of 10 recordings or more, and start a podcast. It's so much fun. So today, I don't have a guest. It's just me. It's so much fun, just me. I just thought it's like the first one back in the studio, and I have been recording at home, just like on my couch, just like with my little weird lollipop-looking microphone just on my laptop, and there's nothing like, it's dark. I'm just staring at my laptop. So this is a much better vibe, and it's just nice to get out of the house, especially now that it's like dark so early. It's like, oh my god, today was super weird because I usually go to bed at like before midnight for sure, sometimes at like 10 p.m. and last night there was like two comedians who are leaving town, so we like went to hang out with them at the show. It's like one of their last shows, and then after the show they were like, oh, come over and like watch a movie, and it was already like almost midnight. I was like, oh god, okay. And so we hung out and we watched a movie, and so I didn't get home till like after 2, and it was like almost 3. I was like delirious by the time I went to bed, but anyways, it was fun, and I didn't have to work today, so that's just me complaining. But we watched Total Recall. Arnold I just said Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger. If you've never heard of him, he is a bodybuilder. And I want to say Total Recall is his best movie. I definitely haven't seen all of his movies, and sure, like Terminator and Terminator 2 are great, but he's not like the main character in them. You know what I mean? He plays the Terminator. Like, he's not like the male lead. Total Recall is so funny. It's like a sci-fi. It's based on like a story by Philip K. Dick. I just read this on IMDb like this afternoon. I don't know this. I don't know Philip K. Dick. I know he's a sci-fi fiction writer. He's probably written, let's look it up. I'm like, what else has he written that's like famous? Anyways, Total Recall, it's like, they go to Mars and there's a girl with 3 boobs. That's what everyone knows about Total Recall. But it's really funny. And what I wanted to say was, because they remade it, right? Maybe like 10 years ago-ish with Colin Farrell. And I saw that, and I remember just being like, it was fine. Like, it's not bad, but they made it less campy. Like, the whole fun of watching those movies that were made in that, like, Schwarzenegger movies are that, like, they're hilarious and like, yeah, just like campy and flashy and weird. And so I would just recommend watching that. Okay, Philip K. Dick. He wrote Blade Runner. Okay. That's also a movie I have never seen. So I want to sort of, I don't know. I want to because people tell me that it's like referenced so much in film. Like it's like the sci-fi that like started. It walked so that other sci-fis could run. But I just don't, it's just, I think it's long. I don't know why I haven't watched it. Whatever. Don't make me watch Blade Runner, okay? um, it's because when I was in acting school, I had this teacher who was like, we're gonna like watch these classic films, and it was kind of like his opinion. I was like, these are the films that are referenced the most, by like other things in film and TV. So he had this thing where we did it a couple times. Like we'd go into the theater in the auditorium in the school, and this was like not mandatory. It was like on a Monday night or something, and you would go and you'd like get to watch these like classic films on the big screen, because he felt it was important for us to know them, and I really liked that. It was cool. I mean, that was how I saw The Godfather for the first time, because like that's something I'm never gonna like sit and watch at home. It's almost 3 hours long, and like, at that time I'm living with roommates. I'm like, I'm not gonna watch The Godfather on a laptop. You know what I mean? That's my problem, really. But that's what's so great about like indie movie theaters that show like old movies, like the Rio in Vancouver, that you have access to that, because it's just not the same not watching it on the big screen. But yeah, we did a few there. We watched Godfather, we watched Rear Window, can't remember what else. Oh well. But yeah, Total Recall. That's what I was gonna say. Another thing that happened this week, Lindsay Lohan's Netflix movie Falling for Christmas came out, and it's amazing. Okay, I'm not someone who watches Hallmark Christmas movies at all, or now Netflix Christmas movies. They're just not for me. I don't, I just rewatch the OC over and over again. We all have our things. But anyways, I don't normally watch them because, like, I don't know. Sometimes the cringe is just too much. And I gotta be honest with this Lindsay Lohan movie, like, the cringe is high. And if it wasn't Lindsay Lohan, well, first of all, I never would have watched it. But if I did, I would have been like, this is bad. This is a bad movie. I'm admitting it. But it's Lindsay Lohan, and I love her, and I grew up with her, and she can do no wrong. That's not true. I as soon as I said it, I'm like, she made I Know Who Killed Me, and that was bad. I watched it. That was bad. And then anything she did after 2010 was questionable, and I haven't seen. She made a couple like indie movies. She made that one where she was like in an office and pregnant. Oh my god, should we go through Lindsay Lohan's 2010s film career? Because most people think it doesn't exist at all, because it wasn't for Disney. But let's see, what's it called? Sick Note. There's something called Sick Note. I've never heard of it, but she's got a interesting bob wig, and Rupert Grint is in it. Okay. She did an episode of Two Broke Girls. She did an episode of Eastbound and Down. Okay, she did a couple episodes of television. She played herself in Scary Movie 5. I don't think I saw that. Liz and Dick. She did that Elizabeth Taylor like Lifetime movie. I did want to see that, but it has a 4 out of 10 rating on IMDb, which sometimes you cannot trust. Sometimes it's just people who don't know things. Anyway, Labor Pains. Oh, this was 2009, where she's like fake. Yeah, she pretends to be pregnant in order to avoid being fired from her job. Anyways, I Know Who Killed Me was 2007. Georgia Rule was 2007. And that movie, see, this is what I'm saying. This has a 5.9 out of 10 on IMDb, Georgia Rule, but it's good. It's bad but good. it's campy good. It's got Jane Fonda and Felicity Huffman, Dermot Mulroney, and my old crush Garrett Hedlund. Okay, let's talk about Garrett Hedlund for a minute. I say my old crush because when I was in high school, he was like my actor crush. I was obsessed with him after seeing the movie Four Brothers. Anyways, recently I just was like, oh, he has Instagram. Somebody I follow like posted that he has a song out. He makes country music now. Like not like full time. He's still acting. I've known him, so I like followed him, and like he's acting on like a show for Paramount Plus, and now he's like doing a thing with Mel Gibson. He like posted like me and Mel. I was like, oh God, Garrett. He was supposed to be huge. He was Tron, and Tron failed. Anyways, Georgia Rule. Oh, Georgia Rule is directed by Gary Marshall. I was like, Hector Elizondo's in this. That must be Gary Marshall. R.I.P. But anyways, so that's what I'm saying. Lindsay Lohan post 2007. It gets wishy-washy. But anyways, she's got like a 3-picture Netflix deal, and the next thing on her IMDb is like another rom-com. It's called Irish Wish. It basically looks like the movie Leap Year and the movie 27 Dresses. It looks like a rom-com, and there's no one else. There's no other stars attached. I do like that this Falling for Christmas movie had Cord Overstreet from Glee. I haven't seen him in anything since Glee. I was looking at his IMDb and Instagram, and he has been acting, so good for him, and making music. But I always liked him on Glee. His whole thing on Glee was that like he was really bad at impressions, or like, was it that he was good at impressions? He did impressions. I'm like a sort of Glee fan. I watched it at the time, but you can't rewatch it. You can't. I've rewatched a couple episodes here and there, but it's too cringe. It's too much. But now I can say most of my TikTok For You page is Glee related content. I don't know why. I barely watched the show. Like, I watched the show. I don't know. It's because I watched them all, and I think it's because I like them. I'm interacting with those posts, and they're like, "This is what she wants," and I do. Like, I like every time I see the cast talk about Glee now, and like they talk about how bad it was, or just I don't know. It's a weird time of nostalgia for me because it was like it came out right after I graduated high school. It came out September 2009. I graduated in June 2009. And I was like, oh my God, I wish I had this in high school. I remember seeing the like trailer and being like, I'm so excited for Glee to come out because I was a theater kid. And, in the first episode, Rachel Berry sings On My Own from Les Mis. And I was like, oh my God. And now I know like that's what every girl in high school sings. Every girl wants to be Eponine. Anyways, so Falling for Christmas, the Lindsay Lohan movie. So she's a producer on it, and like I've seen her talking about in interviews, and she's like, yeah, we added like all of this physical comedy and stuff, and that's what I love. And I do love that she does that. Like, she's like, I like rom-coms, and it actually is very similar to her movie Just My Luck. Like the physical comedy of it all, it's like it's that. But she looks great in it. She sounds great. She's like, she's good. I'm like really optimistic that like these little Netflix movies turn into something bigger for her. And like Jamie Lee Curtis keeps talking about it in interviews and like posting about like doing a Freaky Friday sequel. And so it's like they're talking, and you know that Lindsay is still close with like Nancy Meyers, who did Parent Trap. So I'm just like, okay, like she didn't like burn all these bridges. It's weird. Like she stopped doing movies, and like she had this like reputation for being unprofessional, and maybe she was like, I'm saying like post 2007, but everyone she worked with before that still loves her and is like very like vocally supportive of her. So that's really interesting. You know, it sounds like more than anything, it's just like she was in her early 20s and, you know, maybe like went through a party phase. And it's just that whole, every woman during that time was treated so horribly by the media. And that's why she lives in Dubai now, because there's no paparazzi. That's what she said. Paparazzi is illegal in Dubai. So that's why she lives there. So yeah, Falling for Christmas. I give it a 6.5 out of 10. But enjoyability, you know, 9 out of 10. And is that a good scale? Like, critically, I can look at it 6.5, but enjoyability, let's rate movies by the enjoyability scale. That's what I'm trying to do most of the time. I have gone to the movies twice since the last time I recorded an episode. I've seen some movies that have some buzz. Might be up for some Oscars. Triangle of Sadness, which is like more indie. I think maybe I did talk about Triangle of Sadness on the last episode. Anyways, it's very good. It's the first act I loved. I don't want to spoil it. It's like for lack of a better word, a takedown of rich people. But like the first act is about like these like this like couple and their models, and like they have this. There's a scene where they're at the dinner table and they're arguing, and it's really good. I can't stop thinking about it. The rest of it's good too, but anyways, Triangle of Sadness, recommend. And then I saw the Banshees of Inisherin. I told my mom I saw this on the phone, and she's like, "The Banshees of Ed Sheeran?" I'm like, not Ed Sheeran. To be fair, I've never heard the word Inisherin before. It's a movie. It's a movie that feels like a movie. It's set in like a coastal Irish town village in like the 20s. I can't remember. Anyways, it's really funny. It's about like these two friends, and Colin Farrell is in it, and Brendan Gleeson, and it's really funny. Dark, very dark, funny. But it's like it's mostly about their friendship, and I loved that. I was watching. I was like, this is like Beaches, but for like really sad men. Yeah. Anyways, I've gotta rewatch Beaches. Love movies about friendship. Oh yeah. So I'm referring to my notes. Jimmy Kimmel was announced as the Oscar host. I didn't even know for like 4 days. They posted it, and I'm not on Twitter, so I guess that's why. I follow the Academy on Instagram. Anyway, no, because it's not really anything to talk about, I think. People saw that and they were like, okay, yeah, Jimmy Kimmel, great. And I was like, so I saw it. I saw the post 4 days after they posted it, and then I was like, oh yeah, he would be good. I wonder if he's ever done it before. And then I like looked it up, and I was like, oh, he has done it twice recently, 2017 and 2018. He was the last host before they stopped having a host. So that's interesting. But I guess it was just kind of forgettable. But I'm like, he was hosting the year the whole Moonlight La La Land fiasco happened. I totally forgot. And the year after. So like he's good. He's fine. He'll be fine as a host, and I think that's what they want. They they don't want to have like a comedian that's gonna go too far. Like they don't want the slap happened last year. They don't want the slap. I know. Can you believe that was only last year? Felt like we were talking about it for years. But anyway, not even last year. This year, it's November. But like, you know what I mean. So I today decided to watch Jimmy Kimmel's Oscar monologue from the times he hosted, just to be like, is he gonna be good? And yeah, he was funny. But then YouTube autoplay started playing the time Steve Martin has hosted, and man, so much better. So once in like 2011 or something, it was Steve Martin and Alec Baldwin, which now it's like, okay, now we don't like Alec Baldwin. It's weird to watch just even the opening monologue from a specific year, because the jokes they're making, the stars that are in attendance, you're like, oh wow, like it is so interesting that like someone is only that famous for actually such a short amount of time. It's like they're the darling that year, and then like 2 years later they're not at the Oscars anymore. You know, it's like there was some people that were at the Oscars every year in like the early 2000s, and now you're like, why would they be at the Oscars? Yeah, just the Steve Martin ones, because he's just so silly. That's all it is. Like his jokes are just so, I'm like, what was one of his jokes? It was just like, oh, like hosting the Oscars is like making love to a beautiful woman. It only happens to me when Billy Crystal's out of town. That's like, I mean, that was dumb, but God, I'm trying to think of the one that he said that I really laughed at. Oh well, I can't remember it. I should have wrote it down. That's why I should take notes. Anyways, so I mean, I'm like just saying, Steve Martin is still around. Him and Martin Short should do it. But and then there's the whole thing of like, okay, or they could not give it to like a straight white guy, but it's Hollywood. What's the alternative? An annoying woman, or anyway. So yeah, Oscars hosts. I'm just excited about the Oscars. I like watching them. I can't wait. Can't wait to watch all the movies. I also wanted to talk about Leonardo DiCaprio and Gigi Hadid. Because it was so weird. It was like announced that him and his girlfriend broke up, and then like a week later it was like announced that he was seeing Gigi Hadid, or actually it was announced that he had his eye on Gigi Hadid, which creepy. It really did make it think like he can just pick whoever he wants. It's like, or make it sound like he thinks he can just pick whoever he wants, and I guess he can, because now there's like so many reported sightings of them together. I don't know, it just felt strange, like when, and then maybe the like public announcement of him and his girlfriend breaking up was maybe they broke up a lot, like way before that, you know, because we don't know everything as it happens. But I just, when they said that they were not going to be together anymore, I was just like, I'm talking like he's my friend. I'm like, I was just hoping he'd be single for a while and like take some time to himself. I think he needs that. But yeah, I think he can't be alone, clearly. And then it was just weird. Gigi Hadid, well, she's over 25. Everyone's like, ooh, that's crazy. But also, she's like a mom. I'm like, he's dating a single mom? It's just very odd. So it got me thinking about Leonardo DiCaprio and what he could do to help his image. Because for us, me mostly, I'm just like, I'm not interested anymore. Like, you're a lost cause. Like, so climate change. Do something else. Be more interesting. He's just not interesting. Like, the last movie he made, Don't Look Up, and then I was looking at his IMDb. The next like 3 movies he has coming up are all directed by Martin Scorsese. I'm just like, of course people will see them, because that's what I'm saying. I think he needs to save his image, but I think, but in the eyes of a lot of people, his image is probably fine. They're like, yes, we like this legendary director working with this legendary actor. We'll go see those movies. I'm bored. One of them is literally about like Roosevelt. I'm like, who is that? Who cares? I'm just kidding. He was like a president or something. History is my absolute worst subject. I don't actually know. He's on Money. Roosevelt? I don't know. I don't care. I'm not gonna look it up. But anyways, so here's what I think. So I was like, has Leonardo DiCaprio ever worked with a female director? And I guess he has twice, but it was for movies he did like before he was like a leading man. So it wasn't his choice. And then I'm like, okay, but he did have like, he came up as the like romantic leading man. Like he did have all the girls on his side for a long time because of Romeo and Juliet and Titanic. And so, you know, we loved him for that. And then he did a few like bro movies, but some fun ones, like Catch Me If You Can is fun. And then he did Revolutionary Road, which is romantic. And then he did Great Gatsby. But Great Gatsby came out 10 years ago. And so what I'm thinking is, you know, it's been 10 years. He needs to do a romantic movie. And what I want is for him to do a romantic comedy, because he's good at comedy. He, like, Wolf of Wall Street is funny, and he has, like, funny moments in Gatsby. I think he needs to work with Nancy Meyers. Leonardo DiCaprio, Nancy Meyers, make it happen. Because De Niro's worked with her, Jack Nicholson's worked with her, all those other, you know, those guys that he probably looks up to, those legendary actors, they work with Nancy Meyers. And I don't know what the story will be, but it's gotta, oh, please, Lindsay Lohan, Leonardo DiCaprio, Nancy Meyers. Oh my God, I can't wait to see that movie. God, I just had a shiver. Please, I'll write it. Nancy will probably want to write it. Anyways, I hope you're listening. Any of you, that would be so good. Yeah. So Leo, save your image. I mean, you could work with Baz Luhrmann again, but work with a woman. And why not? You know, you're saying you're working with the legendary directors. Nancy Meyers is one of the legendary directors. Put some respect on Nancy Meyers' name. Scorsese, friggin' Myers. I was gonna try and name more guys, to make it like a list, and then at the end, Myers. But you get it. You get it. My improv brain is not there. I used to do improv classes. Heard of it. But I just like, so anyways, I've just been thinking, like, because of stand up, I'm like, I want to get better at like riffing, like being thinking off the top of my head. But I don't think I'm good at it. And it was just so funny because I've been running this show on and off for a few years now. That's like Comedy Bucket. That's like a riffing comedy show. Anyways, I literally Googled yesterday solo improv exercises because I'm just like, I just want to flex my brain. And there was some, but then I'm like reading them and I'm like, ugh, these suck. these are all lame. I don't want to do these. One of them's like, do object work. I'm just like, oh, just mime. I remember we did one of my first improv classes when I was going to school was just a whole class of just opening a fake door, just taking turns, like 12 of us. Yeah, feeling the doorknob, really feel it, really picture it, really imagine what type of doorknob, what's it made of? Is it metal? Is it glass? Or is it one of those, is it like a lever doorknob? You know? That's probably easier to mime. I keep knocking the microphone. I hope that's not making sound. And if it isn't, and you're listening to this, then never mind. Okay, also, this is so funny because now I've like made myself known as this like pop culture person who likes pop culture. And so people sometimes ask me about stuff and I don't know what they're talking about. I was just doing a show and then this was a couple weeks ago now when this was happening. Someone was like, oh, I bet you've been talking about the Try Guys a lot, hey? I was like, what? The Try Guys scandal. And now I kind of know what it is. But I was like, no. And then, Elon Musk and Twitter and stuff. I'm just like, oh, shit. This is a thing that happened. I know he charged people for verified accounts, but then people took advantage of them and made jokes. Ha 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 ha. And now he took away verified accounts again. I don't know anymore. It's really funny. Actually, I was just like, I'm just thinking about, I think how many times on this podcast I've been like, I'm not on Twitter. I don't know if you know, but I'm not on Twitter. I'm like very proud of it. Sorry, that's super annoying. But what I've been spending most of my time doing is rewatching Gilmore Girls. Okay, so I'm gonna go on a big tangent to like end this off about Gilmore Girls. I remember watching it when it was on, like when it was like originally airing on TV, but I didn't watch it like every week, and I had like came to it later. My sister really loved it, and then I remember really getting into it when Rory went to college. When Rory was in Yale, I remember those episodes. Like that's when I started watching regularly. And so anyways, like I've caught like the odd like reruns on TV here and there, or I'll like rewatch random episodes over the years. But then, yeah, maybe last year I was like, I wonder if I've actually ever seen like the first episode, the pilot. Like, I don't know. And so I like put it on. I was like, oh, I've never seen that. It's a really good pilot, by the way. Great. Sets up the whole series. All the characters wonderfully, the family dynamic. But then I was like, okay, I'll just keep watching. And so now I like slowly been watching on and off over the last year. And I realized I've pretty much never seen seasons 1 to 4 of Gilmore Girls. Just most of it, had no idea. I had seen like one episode with Jess. I like the one where she like goes to New York to be with him, and then I'd only seen him when he like comes back for a cameo when she's in Yale, and like he's doing good. But then I was like watching all of season 4 or whenever he's in it, 3 and 4, and I'm like, he's horrible. He's the worst character. Why is anyone team Jess? He's so rude to her mom and to her. She's like dating Dean, and he just the whole time antagonizing them both. It's gross. He's like this little shit kid. Anyways, so that was eye-opening for me, because I was always like, oh no, I really like Jess, but I was like, oh, I've actually never seen the show. And then Adam Brody is on like a lot of it before he booked the OC, and I obviously like I'm glad he booked the OC, but I do wish that he stayed on. I wish that he stayed with Lane, because now I'm almost done season 7, the last season, and like Lane and Zach are cute, but I'm like, oh, Dave was much better. Zach is like, his whole thing is that he's like this dumb guy. I don't know. I used to like him, and now I'm like, I don't really like him that much. And I don't like how they got together. Like he's just kind of like this like he's like dating. He's like sleeping with a bunch of girls when they're in their band. Anyways, so yeah, so you're getting my like official who I like on Gilmore Girls now. I love Logan. I think he should. I don't know if this is a spoiler, and I don't remember like the end. They don't end up together, right? Because in the Year in the Life, her and Logan are not together. That's right. But I think he was perfect for her. Like he made some mistakes. Who hasn't? but yeah, I think that he actually treated her the best. Like Dean was her high school boyfriend, and he was fine. But yeah, I think her and Logan were great together. And then Luke and Lorelai, obviously. So like when they got together, I was like elated. I was so happy. I was crying. I was like, finally, Luke and Lorelai. And then so in like season 7, like the premiere or whatever, they are not together, and then she gets back with Christopher. It's really hard to watch. It's really and I know like in the end she does end up with Luke, but or something, I don't know. But anyways, that's where I'm at right now. What else? The grandparents, yeah, are like they're actually reasonable. Like yeah, they're annoying, but like Lorelai is very impulsive and like does a lot of stupid things, and like actually like it doesn't always think of her daughter. She's very selfish. I still love her though. I still do love Lorelai. So those are my end of Gilmore Girls power rankings, I guess. Am I missing anybody? Yeah. Anyway, Suki. It is so funny that I don't know, not funny, but it's cool that Melissa McCarthy, she was on that show like for a while, and like that could have been like her thing, just like doing TV and stuff, and then she just got huge after Bridesmaids. I love that. Like it's cool to see. It's cool to see her in all of it. Anyway, that is the end of the episode. That's where we're gonna end today. So yeah, I will just say I am doing another pop culture trivia night at Comedy After Dark on November 29th, the last Tuesday of the month. Yes, November 29th. Pop culture trivia at Comedy After Dark in Vancouver. So you can come to that, and that will be cool. And yeah, I'm excited to get back in the studio and get more content out for y'all. Thank you for listening. I also just got like a Facebook memory that I've been doing this podcast for 2 years, and I'll be at like on and off. I've taken some breaks, life happened a few times, but to anyone who has been listening or just started listening even or whatever, thank you. I really appreciate it. I think it's cool. I like doing this. So if you do like it, tell your friends, and that's all we can hope for. Anyway, take care. We love you. Bye.